Welcome back, Pokemon fans. Angel of the Night here. We are back again with another Pokemon tutorial. And as you guys know, I've been bringing you guys tutorials on how to actually battle your Pokemon games through the generations. Now, the last tutorial that I brought you was in regards to your Switch Online experience and using other emulators. However, in this tutorial here, we're actually going to be going through and showing you how to battle with Generation 1 and Generation 2, along with Generation 6 and Generation 7. Now, in the past, we used the Switch Online application in order to be able to do Generation 1 and Generation 2. And we also used Citra for Generation 6 and Generation 7. However, the Switch Online version didn't really work very well, and you got DC'd a lot. Plus, as well, with the Citra is no longer available, and the rooms are no longer active. However, since Citra went down, there's a new project that came up known as Azahar. And Azahar allows you to play all of your 3DS games, including Virtual Console, on that emulation. Now, there's a couple of things that you need to know. One, I'm not going to share with you guys how to pirate any games, and I will be using actual games that I have from my 3DS. So there is a method with Azahar that allows you to stream your... Ooh, that's actually pretty dirty console there. Fingerprints everywhere. But there is a method that allows you to stream your 3DS console, if you have custom firmware, to Azahar. And you can do this wirelessly over your wireless network connection at home, as long as your computer and your 3DS are actually online. But this allows you to actually play your game saves directly on the emulator, and then it allows you to connect up to an online room and communicate with a friend or another console on there, or, you know, if they're playing their backups on their PC. So I'm going to show you guys how to go through the full setup of Azahar, basically allowing you to synchronize your information from your 3DS to your computer. I will show you that we can do a wireless stream, and as well, I will also show you us connecting to a room to battle with a Virtual Console, as well as a 3DS game such as like Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon or any other game itself. So what you're going to need for this is you're going to need to have a computer with either Windows, Mac, or Linux. And then, of course, there's also an Android variant of the Azahar application. However, I do not have Android, so I won't be able to show you that. Same thing with the Mac and the Linux. I will be using Windows here today. As you guys can see, I've got Windows 11 here in front of me. And yes, I have a lot of applications. But we'll be going through this setup here for you. So let's take a look at the Azahar application here. So if you go over to the azahar-emu.org, this is going to take you into the Azahar website. And this is where you can actually go through and download the application. But first off, I want to do a huge shout out to Pablo MK7. Dude, this is wild. Thank you very much for doing this. But this is a project that was born out of Citra Fork with Pablo as well as Lime 3DS. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe he's one of the team members for the Azahar Emulator. So let's go in here and do the download. Now, as you can see, that there is going to be a Windows download, an Android download, a Linux download, and a Mac OS download. For the purpose of this tutorial, of course, we are on Windows, so we're going to download the Windows installer. And then, of course, there's a couple of files that you're going to need for your 3DS device if you want to copy over your system files or stream wirelessly. So what we're going to need, we are going to need the Arctic Base Server application. This is what's going to allow you to stream your 3DS over to the PC. So you're going to want to go in and download the Arctic Base CIA file. So we're going to download this file. And then, of course, we're going to need the Arctic Setup tool. Now, this is a tool that's used in order to synchronize your files from your 3DS over to the Azahar emulator. So we're going to go into the releases here, and we are going to also download the CIA file for the Arctic setup file for Azahar. So once that is complete, we're actually going to minimize this here. We are going to have to copy a few files over to our 3DS. So if you guys do not have a Nintendo 3DS, don't worry. This isn't necessarily an end-all of the tutorial, but it definitely helps you out if you want to synchronize your system files over to the emulator itself. So what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to take out your SD card from your 3DS. And then what we're going to do is we are going to pop that into the computer. So we're going to take this, plug this in. And you're going to notice that I'm going to have a ton of files on the SD card. So let's go to the SD card here. As you can see, there is a ton of files. This 3DS has been used for many, many years. And I've got a lot of different things on here. So don't be intimidated if your SD card does not look like this. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to call this Azahar Tutorial. So that way I know where my files are going to be. So let's go in here. With your downloads, we're actually going to go through and copy over the Azahar Arctic setup, and we're going to copy the Arctic base file. These should be 2 CIA files, and put them onto your SD card. Okay. Once they're there, you are free to safely eject your SD card from your computer. And there we go. That's all disconnected. Okay. Now the next part is going to be pretty cool because this is actually a capture device from Katsukitty that my streamers, well, not my streamers, but my viewers from my streams back in the day actually helped me purchase. So guys, thank you very much. I am still using this console to this day. So I am doing a huge shout out to you guys. I wouldn't have been able to do a lot of the stuff I've done over the years without this console. And I just want to say I appreciate y'all. Okay, so we are connecting my 3DS capture device to the computer so that way I can actually show you this process. So we're going to open up my Katsukitty software here. Okay, so this is my 3DS console here. As you guys can see, everything you're seeing here right now is over onto the screen. So we are going to go over to our FBI launcher. If you guys have custom firmware, make sure you have this first in order to transfer over your system files. So we are going to need to install a couple of titles. So we need to go to our SD card. We're going to go to the Azahar tutorial. We're going to install Arctic Base. We're going to let this go through with the install. Okay. And then we're going to also install the Arctic setup for Azahar file. Okay, perfect. So now we can go back to our home screen and we should have 2 new packages onto the home screen. So here is the broadcaster software. And then this is also the setup file as well that we'll be needing for this tutorial. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to have to do is onto your PC, we're going to install the 2120.3 Azahar setup file. Now this file itself is the latest version that's available. By the time you guys are probably seeing this, there could potentially be a new update, so the file may not be exactly labeled the same version, but that's perfectly fine. So go ahead and install this for everyone. Now there's a couple of things that you have to know when you do this install. There will be an option to copy your information over from Citra. I highly recommend you do not do this, so that way it doesn't copy over any of the settings or configurations for any other online experiences that you might have set up for. So we've done the install. We are going to go to open our Azahar app. As you can see, mine's frequently used. I did uninstall it for the purpose of this tutorial so I could go through the configurations, but this is the message here that I'm telling you to basically avoid. Just go ahead and click no at this point. We don't want to copy any information over from any other applications like Citra. So I'm just going to click no, and you can always re-trigger it, of course, later on if you want, but we're not going to do that. So this is going to open up the application for very first use. Okay. So now what we need to do is we need to be able to copy our information from our 3DS tool all the way over to the application itself. So this is going to copy over system files. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to File. We are going to go to Setup System Files. So what we're going to do is we are going to go to the Arctic Setup tool. We're going to open this. Now you have to make sure that your 3DS and your computer are connected to the same network. If you are not connected to the same network, this will not work out properly. The other thing you also have to worry about as well is you have to make sure that Luma 3DS is also set up to the latest version on your 3DS. If you do not have the most recent version of Luma, you will need to do that before you proceed, or you're just going to error out. Okay, I'll put a link to the Luma files in the description below as well. So we're going to launch the tool. As you can see here, it says that it's done. And it's going to give me an IP address. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type this IP address into my program. Now, I don't remember if I have to have the port numbers or not, but I will type the port numbers anyways, just to make sure. Now, you're going to notice that I'm using a new 3DS 3DS device. By default, it's always going to be set up on old 3DS setup. You can rerun this again to do the new 3DS setup later, but it's really not required. Just continue on with the old 3DS setup, okay? Okay, so as you can see, it says that it's connected to the Azahar emulator, and it's actually copying files over right now. So we are going to get a menu here that says to update your 3DS system. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. Now, this is not actually, I believe, connecting to the network, but it is connecting to my 3DS to copy some files over, I believe. So you're just going to want to let this go through the process here until it updates all the information from your 3DS console to the emulator. I'm just going to make this a little bit bigger here so you guys can see it. So on the left is the Azahar application. On the right is my Nintendo 3DS console. And I'm going to show you here, that's exactly what I'm seeing on the 3DS, as you can see. Perfect. Okay, we're just going to let that go through the process here. Now, again, if you do not have the latest version of Luma on your 3DS console, make sure you go through and update that. Because like I said, it will error out. My good old buddy Retro Knight had a ton of problems with that. So make sure you update your console with Luma. Okay, so as you can see here, it says here that the system update is complete and the system will now be restarted. So I can actually just click OK onto that. And as you can see, the application here is now ready to go. So in order to continue on, we can actually stop here with the 3DS console. I'm just going to hit Start to exit. Now, there is a couple of things that I will suggest before we proceed. First off, you're going to want to close this application here, the Azahar one. And if we relaunch Azahar, we should be able to see some system files. Okay. So if we take a look at Azahar, the actual Azahar application, you're going to see that it's copied things over such as like your system settings, your download and play, the Me Maker, and AR games, all that stuff. All these applications here you don't really use during this process, but it does copy over your system files for the emulator to run. So this is all done. As long as you see system titles, you are good to go. Now the next thing is that if you do have any backups of your actual legit games, you need to be using encrypted CCI files, okay? So if you've exported all of your cartridges to your computer and they've come up as being .3ds files, you can just rename them to .cci and they will pick up in the actual emulator, okay? One thing I'm going to do here, I'm going to just kind of show you. Before you continue on, you are going to want to go through and back up your game saves. Now, one thing that I use here is I actually use Checkpoint. And Checkpoint allows you to go through and back up all of your game saves that you have on your console. Now, for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm probably going to be showing you guys Pokemon Crystal, and I will be showing you Pokemon Ultra Moon. So I'll be connecting up with my desktop in order to do this. So what you're going to do is you're going to go in, find your game, click onto your game. You're going to go and tap Backup. You're going to hit Yes. And as you can see, it's going to export your game save to your SD card. I highly recommend that you do this so that way you have these backups onto your computer for your game saves. And then, of course, you'll have to go through the process of backing up your files for your games itself. I will not be showing you how to do that in this tutorial for legality reasons. Okay, so once you've got your game saves all backed up, you can close out of your Checkpoint, and then you're done with your 3DS console pretty much at this point. However, if you wish to connect up and stream one of your games to the actual Azahar program, I will show you how to do that here now. So we are going to go to File and connect to Arctic Base. And if you actually go up to the other application, which was the Arctic Base streaming software, you can open up that application, and we are going to launch Arctic Base. Okay, now it tells us to select the game that we wish to play. I'm going to go here and select Pokemon Ultra Moon. Now, if you take a look over here at the Arctic Base application, we're going to go back in and put in our IP address for our console. We're going to click OK. And you're going to start seeing that traffic is actually moving across your network. This should allow us to actually stream that game from your console all the way over to the Arctic Base program. Now, it could take a few moments because I don't actually have the game loaded into the emulator, so I don't have my CCI file there to be able to help me. So this is going to actually stream the information over from right to left here. There we go, guys. So you can actually stream without even having a capture card all the way over to your computer, and you can play this in like a 4K res if you really needed to. You may notice that it might kind of lock up or lag at some point because remember, this is actually going over from your 3DS console right to your PC. Okay, if you have the actual CCI file or the game in Azahar, it would actually run a lot smoother. And that's exactly what I'm going to be doing in this tutorial. As you can see, it's kind of locking up there. I'm just going to click A onto it here and see if we can actually just load up the game. And as you can see, this actually has my game save from my actual 3DS console. So this is actually the game save that I used back when I used to stream way back in the day when Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon were very much active. And this is going to allow you to be able to connect up with other players and everything like that. So it's pretty neat. So here we go, guys. This is my actual game save. Now, I got to remember what the actual buttons are. I don't remember what the buttons are. But you can go through and customize those in the settings and everything. But these are all my Pokemon that I actually used for one of the competitions, if I'm not mistaken. It'll be interesting to see this team battle with another team. But as you can see, this is that event Eevee that I got in the Cherish Ball that time. I was huge on the actual Celebrate Eevees back in the day. And of course, you know, everybody loves Incineroar. But anyways, this is how you can actually stream your actual console to the Azahar emulator. So that's pretty sweet. So that is how you can do the streaming aspect. But we're going to stop that emulation. So that's actually just synchronizing everything over from your actual game console right to the emulator. There's no games currently in Azahar. So this is actually all going over the Wi-Fi. Okay. So once you actually get your games added into the Azahar application, you're going to see how the compatibility is, what the region is, the file type, the size, and the amount of playtime. As you can see, I did a little bit of playing around with Pokemon Crystal just to make sure it was going to work. But the cool thing is that all of the applications do function to a certain degree. Now, I have a few customized settings for specific games. However, I'm going to go through and show you a few things here. In order to add a game directory, like if you've exported all of your 3DS files to CCI files, then you can add a folder directory. You can do that by just clicking onto the Add New Application directory here, and you can actually just go in and find where your games are actually stored. Okay, so as long as you have your games, you're all set and ready to go. Now, for my specific emulation here of these games, I actually have to set a specific audio setting in order to get all of the Virtual Console games to play correctly. So when you load up a Virtual Console game, you're going to notice that the audio is a bit choppy. and doesn't really match up with the game. So make sure you set your emulation to LLE accurate. Okay. Now, the next thing is that with the Azahar Emulator, okay, you're going to want to be able to connect up with other players. So first off, you're going to want to go to multiplayer, and you're going to want to go to browse public rooms. Now you're going to see a whole pile of different rooms you can connect up with, and you're going to see that there are a ton of Pokemon generational servers to connect to. So there's a Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Moon. There's the Virtual Console 1 and 2. And then, of course, there's the XY and ORS. Now, these rooms are very specific because certain games can only communicate with each other. So, of course, Sun and Moon and Ultra Moon. You've got your Gen 1 and Gen 2 rooms. And then you've got your XY and your ORS. Okay? For the purpose of this tutorial, we're actually going to connect up into room number 2. Okay, now you're going to see that my nickname was actually specified as AOTN091, and you're going to see that I'm actually in one of the rooms. Now what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to actually want to connect up with another computer in order to be able to show you the communication aspect. Okay, so now you can see that I've got myself in the room with my PC, which is my desktop computer that I'm recording on right now, and then I've got the laptop, which is what you guys are seeing here behind me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead here and load up Pokemon Crystal. Okay, now this should operate properly. Now you're going to probably see a little bit of a glitch here on the right part of the screen where you're seeing the mouse. This is normal for this application at the current stage, so don't worry if you see it, okay? Next thing is I'm going to get the desktop loaded up here too. I got to remember what my key controls are. Continue. Okay. Okay, so with the laptop, I'm going to connect up here. We're going to go into the screen. Now, this is the game save that I was using in order to transport my shiny Pokemon from Pokemon Crystal physical cartridge over to my virtual console in order to transfer to bank. So we are going to go in here and try to connect. So if we just take kind of a peek here, the Pokemon that I have here is Typhlosion and Pidgeot. I do have a few eggs with me. They're not going to be able to battle, but you're going to see us here try to connect now. Okay, we're going to connect up to the Cable Club. We're going to hit yes. Both of you pretty much have to be communicating in the Pokemon Center in order for this to work. You're going to go ahead and save. Okay. Now, it's going to decide who is the partner and who is the host. So what I'm going to do is on the laptop, I'm going to invite a partner to play with you. So you're going to do that. On the other computer, you're going to go down to join a partner who has issued an invitation. So you're looking for a partner here. My name shows up in the list on the opposing side. I'm going to hit OK, and as you can see, both of my consoles here are all ready to go. Okay, please come in. And you're going to go into the trade room. Oh. Too many keyboards on my screen. I'm hitting over on the keyboard. Okay, so you're going to go up here and try to communicate. Wrong button. Okay, we're going to go up here. We're going to communicate. Wrong button on my other one. Okay, and we should be getting into the trade room. Let's give it a second here. Oh, this is actually the battle room. Not the trade room. Uh-oh. It's about to go down, guys. So I'm actually going to be battling with myself. Okay, so we're sending out Typhlosion versus Typhlosion. Okay, so as you can see, we are in here. We are in a battle room. We are able to communicate between our two systems. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead here and I don't really have very much room, or not very much room, but I don't have very many interesting moves on these Pokemon. A lot of these Pokemon that I'm using are in-game Pokemon, so the movesets are very non-competitive. But as you can see here, we're communicating perfectly fine. It doesn't really matter how long you kind of wait for, but just keep in mind you don't want to keep your opponent waiting for too long, because there's no timers in Generation 1 and Generation 2. But as you can see, we're battling. So I'm actually going to back out of this battle. I'm going to show you here that we can trade. Obviously, I went to the wrong spot in order to do so. Okay, so both of us actually ran away. So just remember that when you're connecting up to do any kind of matches or anything like that, you make sure you go to the correct room for the game. Let's make sure we get out of here. Okay, so out of the room we go. Communication on the other side has lost. That's fine. And out of the room. Now, I may actually have to reset my emulation here, but we'll see. Nope. Communication lost. That's fine. So then we're actually out of the room. Okay, we're going to go over to the trade. And welcome to the Cable Trade Center. Okay, so I'm going to show you the opposing side of this here now. So we're going to do the invite on the desktop, and we're going to join a partner on the laptop that I'm using. So as you can see, Corey's PC is here. We're going to hit start. And you can see we're both here and ready to go. Okay. And here we are in the trade room. Okay, please wait on both sides. Okay, so now you can see that I have Celebi on my PC save. I've got Pidgeot and Typhlosion. So I'm going to go down here to Pidgeot. Actually, that's probably not the right one. Level 59. These saves were definitely from different times. Let's do Typhlosion for Typhlosion. And then we'll trade it back to show that we can do that. Yes. Okay, there we go. So we're actually trading my Typhlosion and both of my saves basically to each other. As you're gonna see, the actual ID number is very much the same. I've basically been having so many different duplicate saves lately when I'm backing up some of my shiny Pokemon, so anyway. So we got Typhlosion over onto the desktop, and now we're sending Typhlosion from the laptop. Yeah, we're basically switching them back and forth. So it's going over to the laptop now. So we've got Typhlosion sent over and sent over to the other side. I should have had different Pokemon here to show you guys, but this is the only crystal save that I have right now. Okay, and we will trade them back. Just to show you it can be done there as well. Okay, trade was complete. Let's go down to the Typhlosion and trade. And trade. Okay, we're going to trade those back. And then what we are going to do is I'm going to show you guys how to connect up your Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon to be able to communicate and trade in battle as well. Of course, in the X and Y and Oris versions, you'll be using the PSS method which is very, very easy to communicate. They show up as locals or nearby players. Friend codes do not exist with this here, so you're not actually connecting up to any kind of online server to play online. However, this is showing up as being a local game connection when you're trying to play, because that's how 3DS works. It operates basically all on local connectivity. Okay, I'm just getting these back. Now, if you guys are interested in battling with Generation 1 and Generation 2, I have just recently uploaded a full Generation 1 Wi-Fi battle with my buddy Retro Knight. We were actually doing an OU battle in Generation 1. So that should actually already be onto the channel. I will be linking that in the description below as well. Okay, so now what we can do is we can actually back out of the trade. Oh, was that the wrong button? That was definitely the wrong button. Oh. There we go. And then we should lose connection with each other here as well in just a minute. Okay, communication was lost. Okay, that's because we both exited the room. It's almost as equivalent as pulling out the trade cable. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to stop the emulation here for this one. And we are also going to leave the room for Generation 1 and Generation 2. Okay, so now that I've got my Ultramoon over onto my PC, what we're going to do is we're going to connect up to another room here. And we're going to go to room number 2. Okay, so as you can see, you're now connected to that room. Over onto the laptop here, we're going to go to Ultramoon, and we're going to launch this game. Now you're going to notice that these windows actually kind of stay above the actual emulator. Just make sure you go in and just kind of readjust your windows so that way you can see kind of like what I'm doing here. We're going to connect up onto the multiplayer room with the desktop. And as you can see, I am there as well. Okay, so onto the laptop. We're going to go into the game. I have to hit start, I think. Which one is my start? There we go. Okay, so now that we're in the game, we need to connect up to Loyalty Plaza. I gotta remember which buttons are which now. There we go. Or, sorry, Festival Plaza. It's been a while since I've done anything to do with this game. Oh, there we go. Okay, so we are now in Festival Plaza. So with the desktop, we're going to do the same thing. Make sure I'm connected up here. Okay, we should be in Festival Plaza, and as you can see, I am right here over to the side. So we're going to start talking to ourselves. Now, mind you, I have a couple of modifications onto my settings here. I am at a 5x resolution, so that should be in 4K if I'm not mistaken. So, if I remember correctly, we need to go to Battle. And we are going to do a link battle and a single battle. And we're going to ask the other player if they wish to do a match. So that's going to actually pop up onto my other screen over here. So I'm going to hit yes to participate. And we should be connecting up here. Just give that a moment. Okay, we have accepted the battle. Okay, we are deciding who wishes to do the battle rules. I'm going to decide myself. And I'm just going to go to no restrictions here, just because I don't really remember what Pokemon I have with me here at the moment. I believe I have an old, like, NU team with me. Yeah, so we're going to go with my party Pokemon. So we're going to hit yes. And yes. And then it looks like I might also have the same team on the other side. All right, let's choose. Gotta choose Team Rocket or Giovanni. Let's go with Team Rocket. Let's begin. And this should start our battle for us. So anything that's available in Festival Plaza, you're going to be able to do, except for anything that would connect up to like Nintendo networks. Same thing as well if you are going to be doing anything to do with like XY or Oris or any other games like that. You're going to be basically stuck with doing local only. So I'm going to choose just one Pokemon each. I'm not going to do a full battle here. But as you can see, we're all connected up. So we should be all set here and ready to go. So we are going to be able to do a battle. I do have a few settings that are currently enabled that may not be operating the best at the moment, just with my playback. But that is something that I'm going to work out later on if I need to. I can't hear my audio as I don't have my headset on, but here we are. So I actually copied all of my system files over from my 3DS. So that includes all of my battle background modifications. Back in the day, I found the original battle background files and I was able to swap them out. And same thing with the t-shirts, I did some modifications there. So if you're wondering why my battle looks differently than yours, this is why. So we are going to go for a Z Celebrate. And then over onto the desktop here, we are going to go in for the Gunk Shot. I do like this team. This is actually one of my favorite teams that I used back in the day. I remember doing a lot of battles with them. Now, the cool thing with this is that with the older generations, when you actually did a Wi-Fi battle and you saved it to your verse recorder, you could actually go in and re-watch the battle. So if it's a little bit slow during the actual battle, that's okay, because you can do a full playback later on and do a screen cap or a screen recording if you are doing any kind of competitive matches or if you upload to YouTube like myself. This is pretty good. The fact that we can actually do Wi-Fi battles again with generations 1 and 2, and we can do them with 6 and 7, that's pretty fantastic. Plus as well, I also provided you guys other methods as well to do Gen 3, 4, and 5. So pretty much at this point, all generations are fully capable of being done with Wi-Fi battling. So if you guys are looking for a generational battle and wish to battle in any generation that is old or new, pop on over to my Discord. My Discord is in the description below. That is my Snowpoint Temple community. And come on over and have a battle, guys. It is there for you guys to use. There's plenty of players there. There's a lot of Generation 4 and 5 matches. There's a lot of newer age generational battles. And I really would like to get these generations back up and running as soon as possible. So if you guys want a match, come on over, challenge me to a battle, and we will get some good matches going. So hopefully this tutorial was good and helpful there for you. If you guys have any problems, feel free to ask. Post in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you. And have a great day, guys. Peace out. Let's get this Z Celebrate going here. Let's go with the Ice Beam. There should be like a one-hit knockout, I'm thinking. And I'm going to go for the Glare with the Druddigon. Definitely not able to outspeed that Vaporeon, though. Oh, oh, almost. Luckily, I did not get the freeze on myself, but we actually got the Glare, so that's pretty cool. Paralyzed now, Vaporeon. What are you going to do?